Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa rasulillah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to another live broadcast. It is on marriage issues, one of the probably most discussed, most important thing in the world today, in the Muslim sphere. And we are gonna go live. I'm gonna just share it on Instagram as well in a second. Bismillah. Very quick. Okay. And we're gonna just put on Instagram as well. Inshallah, we're live. And please share and like it. And we're gonna take your questions as always. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Just wait for a few minutes till we get to it, inshallah. Go. Can share this. Bismillah. All right. Bismillah. طيب. Okay, and I think we're good to go with Instagram as well, inshallah. طيب, Bismillah. All right, so Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All right. So as usual, basically we take your questions about marriage, issues related to it, issues related to relationships, issues related to vetting. And again, for those who don't know, I do have a course on vetting that you can find on my Instagram account. From the link tree, you can get to the course. It's very important. I'd really recommend it because I spoke about 4 hours, 5 hours with a live audience, and we spoke about some of these issues that are very pertinent to what's happening today and the problems that we're having with marriage, with divorce, with relationships, and so on. Obviously, Shaitan is very smart. We're living in the 21st century, right? He's become smarter. He's got a lot of help and support, and it is a problem for people to get married, a problem for people to stay married, problem for people to succeed in their marriages. So let us start, inshallah, with the first questions. Should a man marry an aspiring doctor? Again, it depends what kind of man. Is he a mature man who can obviously see that sometimes there has to be a fard kifaya where a woman might have to be a doctor? But it's difficult because sisters, men are not necessarily interested in your career. That's not the most important thing for a man in general. There might be some men who have a better understanding of the world view and they say, hey, we really need some sisters. And he has some ability to allow his wife to be in a specific environment, to be a doctor. That's okay. But if you're like just your typical Western doctor who's chasing the dunya and wants to show that they can have a career and really it's something driven by their goals in life that have been conditioned by education that have gone through the system, most men will not like that. Most men will not like that. Okay? Most men will not like that. Type. Okay, great question here. Does there have to be love in the beginning of marriage, or is something that develops in time? It is something that can develop in time. I would say that at the beginning, it's mostly infatuation and attraction. So it's not necessarily that's the best or most healthiest kind of love. It is a love that can disappear. But indeed, sometimes some people do fall in love and they have it at the beginning. It is possible. But in general, I believe the true sense of the word love develops with the difficulties that you go through in your marriage, the great times, the bad times, the good times, the not so good, the challenges. being able to put up with each other, going through these difficulties, connecting together, worshiping Allah together. This is where I think true love develops. Now, Assalamu alaikum, Brother Jibril. Question: what advice would you give to a wife who married a man that is less religious than her? How can she encourage him to be a better Muslim? See, men don't change that easily. Men don't change that easily. So it's not that simple. You got to be very, very careful with who you marry, because men don't change that easily. They're a bit more stubborn than women. Women are a bit easier to change, or sometimes they change by themselves. But it's tough. So, first and foremost, whatever you do, make sure you do it with respect. Whatever you do, when you advise him, make sure that you do it with respect. That's something I would say extremely, extremely important. All right? So keep that in mind, inshallah, that whatever you do, advice, ad-dinu nasiha, this deen is advice, do it with respect. Okay? A man likes it when you are loving, kind, not aggressive and too strong, masculine. No. He can change. For the right woman, he can change, inshallah. But of course, first and foremost, he should change for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But a lot of sisters think that they can do it or advise them in a harsh way and be strong and harsh with men. We take that as, or interpret that as a masculine or as a conflict. And we're going to react in a very, very negative way. So take it, with respect, with kindness, with love. Men in general, they will melt when a woman is very feminine and she uses her charm to drive a certain point across. As soon as you start talking in a very negative sense, in a very harsh way, very masculine, aggressive way, it doesn't work. Assalamu alaikum. My husband wants me to follow traditions even if they contradict Islamic law. If I refuse, he wants to divorce me. What do I do? Well, he is wrong in what he does, because you cannot accept لا طاعة المخلوق في معصية الخالق. There's no obedience to the created in disobedience to the creator. So it is totally incorrect. If he wants to divorce you, then it's his loss. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you a better husband, because you should not obey traditions that go against Islam. You can obey your husband, and we always say, obey your husbands in everything, but not in this thing. Okay? Sadly, I would tell him to come for counseling. I would involve some elders who are religious to basically bring him back to his right mind, because what he's doing is incorrect. Incorrect. Assalamu alaikum. Sheikh from Al-Maghrib said if a man takes a second wife secretly, women can seek hola. I sent you an email as well. What's the ruling? Sorry if I didn't answer to your email. I'm not sure, because I receive a lot of messages. Look, this is, I think I've seen the video and I know who you're talking about. All right. First and foremost, a man doesn't need the permission of a woman to get married. However, he shouldn't be hiding. It's not good. Now, the scholars have talked about it. Is it still a valid marriage if he hid it? Yes, it is. Is it good to hide it? No. Can she seek hola? Is there a reason for hola? I think this is something that people have to be very, very careful. What might happen is that she might feel betrayed and lied to, and because of that, she might want to seek hola. But is that a good enough reason? The question would be, why did the man go and do it in secret? What's the problem? Why did he do that? It's not so simple. Okay, he did it, hola, that's it. The question is, why did he do it? What's the issue? There must be an issue there. Why did he not just go forward with it? It's not so simple. It's not so simple. I'm really sad when I see people just jumping in to give fatwas about anything. It's not right. Okay? And of course, now all the sisters are going to, start seeking hola when they hear fatwa. It's not just about this particular incident about taking a secret wife, but about other things as well. Like hola has become so popular now. It's like, that's it, hola, 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 everything's hola. So, but what I would understand from this issue is that she probably feels betrayed because of the lie or the deception or the hiding. So that's something where she might be coming from. No. Can you please clarify the meaning of traveling only with mahram? All of us sisters. Yeah, a woman should travel with a brother, uncle, father, husband. They should not be traveling alone. They should not be, unless if it's like a very, very, short trip, as there's a little bit of difference of opinion. There's a difference of opinion. If it's a short trip, there's something that is really like needed. And so there's been some discussion about that. But personally, I believe if, when women ask this, they usually ask about what? It's not about like something happened and, the husband has to work and she has to travel for a 4-hour flight, 5 hours flight because she has to fly back home, or I don't know, somewhere because someone passed away, or, oh my God, I can't go because I don't have, no. It's probably not in that context. It's probably in the context of me and my friends want to go for vacation, girls' night, girls' time out, or I want to go and study abroad alone. No, not permissible. No, haram. Why is having social media is a requirement to even get sisters to look at you? I don't have a huge following and I'm a single 25-year-old. I don't know. These days, women are attracted to someone who has people who are following them. In general, sisters will be more attracted to a man who has more or other sisters following him. So if he's a man that no one wants and no one's really following, women are not going to be that interested in him. Even if he's not that good looking or whatever, but he has a following and there's people who are interested in him and other women are interested in him, he's going to be more attractive to the woman, to the sister. So it's a bit of a complicated thing with female psychology as to what they're attracted to and what they're not. I can develop or talk more about it, and I'm going to do that in a course, but it's not the time right now. But in general, I would say women are attracted to or interested in men that have other suitors or other women who are interested in them, because a lot of times the value that they give to these men are depending on their peers or friends and what they think about that. Because women are very, very interested in the image and who this person who's going to be their husband is going to be in the mind of others, right? She has a certain construct that she builds of how life should be. So she's very, very, one of the main points of her looking at someone is whether that person is looked at by other people as well. Do you think that some are obsessed with marriage to when it affects their intention in going to conferences, Muslim student orgs, etc.? Yeah, some people are like desperate. I would say it's desperation. People are desperate with getting married. I think it's a desperation, and it's reached a point, and indeed, I think people have this desire to be with someone, right? Like it's built in us, it's innate to have a partner in halal. So, of course, people are going to get obsessed, or they're going to travel, they're going to try their best to get married. I believe that right now, people are desperate to get married. Desperate. How can a wife create a good relationship with her husband's family after marriage? She can, inshallah, by visiting them, by ignoring some of the politics. Just visiting and just being very smart in the way she deals with that family. That is very, very important. Just the way she deals with them, the way she talks to them, the way she approaches the situation, this can make a huge deal, right? If a woman is smart, she can really, really score a lot of points with the husband's family. Just the way she talks, like literally just the presence, the visits, her being there, present, just the way she behaves can be a huge, huge thing. I made istikhara whether I should ask my husband for a divorce. My husband does not pray, has porn and other addictions. My heart feels doubtful to ask for divorce. Is this shaitan or what? Again, if he doesn't pray, he has addictions and so on, many scholars would tell you, like I know some scholars will be like, man, just out. Try to talk to him. Try to get him to come for counseling. Try to tell him, threaten him with divorce. Okay, you're allowed in this case, like if he has addictions and he's doing all these things and he doesn't pray, you would be allowed to file for hola. Threaten him with that. Threaten him with hola, that if he doesn't change, doesn't stop, he doesn't start praying, that you're going to take a divorce. How to deal with a marriage where one of the spouses is mentally ill. This is a huge problem because if someone has mental illness, it should be told before marriage so that the person who gets into this marriage decides there and then whether they have the ability to get into a marriage like that or not. Because if they don't have the ability, and not everyone's going to be wanting to be a shrink or a psychologist or a counselor for their spouse. So there's a lot of marriages that end up with one person having mental illness and having to deal with it and not telling the partner, the husband, the wife before the marriage that they're having this issue. How to deal with it? I would say that they should go for counseling. They should try their best because now they're invested in each other. They should try their best to work together, to see a psychiatrist, to see a counselor, and to deal with it. If a person really loves this person, they should be by their side and help them to get over this, inshallah. But it's very difficult. And it's difficult for a husband. He's not a counselor necessarily. It's difficult for a wife. She's not a counselor to put up with these things. It's not easy. Assalamu alaikum. I'm hearing a lot these days that men are visual and beauty is important to them. All that is really leaving me insecure these days about how I look, though I'm happy with my looks. Yeah, men are visual. Women are visual as well. It's just that women are not willing to accept it or to acknowledge it. Men are visual, yes, without a doubt. We love beauty, no doubt. But women also, I think a lot of the insecurities of women are due to other women because they see them on social media. Women keep looking at each other, comparing. They feel more insecure, I would say, not from men, because guys are not just going to keep going there like, hey, baby, and talk. And most guys, especially in today's world with all these Me Too movements, men don't really say stuff about that, okay? Men don't do that. So I would say that it's more, the insecurity of women come more from social media and looking at other accounts of other women who are beautiful, who are models, who are professional, and so on, and feeling insecure about that. Not because of men. I would really say that these days, it's like, what can men do? Other than maybe say, oh, she's beautiful or something like that. It's, the standard of beauty is not set by men today. I'm sorry. It's set by women. By the women that appear in the magazines, the women that appear in social media, the women that appear on Instagram and so on. Should one marry a girl who is modest but doesn't wear hijab and hope that she can wear it after marriage? If she's modest and so on and she has the ability, you have to make it clear. Don't just hope that she's going to change. Make it as a condition that you have to do it, and she promises and so on, and she's humble, she has all these good qualities, but maybe she wasn't there at that level yet, then okay, bismillah. As long as she agrees and she says that I will do it. No. Can you explain how to make a man melt with feminine charm? A woman just has to be herself, just has to be in her feminine energy. The man is going to melt. When she speaks nice, she's vulnerable, she's kind, she's soft, she's not aggressive, she doesn't talk like a man, she's loving, she submits herself to him. The man, unless he's a bad man, okay? So bad men, of course, they'll prey on weak women like that. But I'm talking about bad men, right? But we're talking here about husbands, good men. We're talking about the righteous men, inshallah. The man will melt when a woman is feminine. When a woman talks in a feminine way, when she looks at him in a certain way. She's kind, she looks pretty, she's, you know, done something for him. No man who's righteous and fears Allah will do anything, you know, against that woman. Okay, that is an interesting question. Whether it's halal or not depends on the condition of a person, right? There are some medical conditions that might require surgery. So in certain medical conditions, then it would be halal. If it's just to like enlarge because people, you know, what they've been watching and the culture and so on, then no, that is not allowed. You're going to destroy actually your, you know, private part. It's not like enlargement of breast and so on, what is for women, which is again not halal other than in specific medical issues. But for men, it's totally different. Totally different. And yes, there is a condition called micropenis, which is a medical condition, in which case, yes, there can be obviously a concession there. But if it's just because people think that they should be like this or like that, then no. What kind of advice would you give to a 13, 14-year-old with a porn addiction? I know someone. It's tough, but alhamdulillah, at least they're in a very young age, so they can stop it, inshallah. If they stop it now, alhamdulillah, inshallah, their life will be okay. If they keep going on, it's going to be a disaster. So change your lifestyle. Don't be alone. Don't be with these screens, these phones, and so on. It's the most disastrous thing you can do in your life is to get addicted to pornography. Run away from it like you run away from a monster. Okay? Trust me, a lot of people might think that because it's, wow, it's hot, it's this, it's that, it feels good, right? You have hormones, you're raging, you know, it's the worst thing. Clients who are in their 30s, 35, they've destroyed their lives. You want to destroy your life? No. You're at 12, 13 right now, 14, whatever, you just started. You have a lot of hope to just stop it. Just remember that you don't need it. It's going to destroy your life. Change your lifestyle. Be busy. Stay away from screens. Don't keep your phone with you. Don't keep your computer with you. Just away from the situations in which you would be watching it. Do you think it's possible to find a non-feminist wife in Gen Z? It's tough, man. Very tough. Very tough to find a non-feminist. No. How to help your husband start praying again? When I remind him what the prayer says, that if I insist too much, I'll make it even worse. As I said again, right? Just once in a while, in a nice way, remind him, not all the time, because yes, again, with men, because when you keep telling him, nagging them, they don't like nagging. So be careful, don't nag. And, but remind them, and when you find the right time, remind him, inshallah. I'm 25, I want to get married, but I'm not seeking currently due to no job and finances. Parents say it's too early for me. Want to get married as soon as I get some money and stable income. Inshallah, may Allah make it easy for you. As a man, should you feel like a second choice if someone you propose to refuse, then approached you again after some time? Most likely you are a second choice. And I don't know, personally, I wouldn't go for it, personally. If I propose to someone and they give you the boot kind of thing, and then they come back after, I wouldn't. Okay, that's great recommendation. Assalamu alaikum. My wife is a good woman, alhamdulillah. She's kind and caring, but she lacks ambition. She doesn't put much effort into learning, bettering herself or our daughter. What do I do? Uh, keep reminding her, keep pushing her, help her to maybe give her like a course, sign her up for a course. There's something at the Sisters Corner. They have some courses on femininity and how to develop yourself. I think there's another sister who teaches how to be a wife. So help her by giving her these resources. In the end, right, as a husband, you can put your foot down and say, look, I need you to do these things, right? Like you are the man of the house. You want her to change. If she's a good woman overall, like she's not everything is bad, right? She's a good woman overall. Alhamdulillah. Some people change, some people not, right? You're gonna do your best. Sound like any advice for an old sister, it's 43, to find husband and get married? It depends where you are. There are some services for marriage. It could work, alhamdulillah. 43 is not old. It's okay, it's good. It's still possible to get married. Polygyny is an option as well, if it's done properly and good. So it's, some people think, okay, I'm in 40s, that's it, it's the end. For me, there's no more life. No, you can get married, inshallah. It's possible. So look at what services are out there for marriage matching. Make sure they're right, they're not, dodgy. And it's possible. Maybe even at your masjid, you can talk to the imam, the local imam. They should be approachable for these things, and it's okay. I think it's possible, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Should I marry from back home if it's possible? I would probably say it's a good idea if you do. Went to Sharia Council for marriage counseling due to my wife not fulfilling her duties in marriage. The imam there said if my wife doesn't fulfill her duties, I might be patient and do. Well, it's okay, but what's the limit of the patience? Islamic is not just be patient, be patient, be patient. Like, what is she not fulfilling? She has to fulfill her duties. She's being sinful if she's not doing that. I know these days, these imams, sadly, may Allah bless them, it's always they're kind of siding with the woman. No, there's a limit. There's a limit. If you're working, you're fulfilling your part, and she's not fulfilling her part, then it's not a fair deal, is it? Yes, have patience, but there has to be limits. She has to know that, hey, there's consequences to her not doing her duty. I would say the consequences are very important. Yeah, I think marrying someone from back home is okay, even if you have differences in culture and communication. That can develop easily. What cannot develop if they're a liberal feminist, and that's hard to change. So if you can get someone from back home who is not that communicative or that culturally compatible, that can happen. You can work it out, inshallah. You can work it out. 19-year-old, I fear to be alone forever. I never felt attractive. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That's a good point. Do we become more mature as soon as we get married? I would say that marriage is part of the maturity development, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Can you ask for a divorce if he wrongfully accuses you of cheating constantly and is oppressive? If he keeps accusing you of cheating and there's no evidence and no proof, he's making a big sin, a huge sin. Okay? And yes, you could ask for a divorce. I want to practice polygyny. I have the means, alhamdulillah. However, my parents are against it, and I've even asked people to try to dissuade me. The girl is a Christian but ready to accept Islam. Inshallah, I mean, you're a man. Obviously, you don't want to put yourself in a bad situation with your parents, but in the end, you don't need anyone's permission to get married. What are the top 3 things? What are the top 3 things required for a good marriage? Good deen, to have a good deen. I think it's very important to have, good Islam. Good deen is probably the most important thing, is to be, to have a good relationship with Allah, the two of you together. Then good intimacy, good communication. These 3 things I'll say. So Islam, good intimacy, good communication. These are probably the most important things. So Islam first, your practice, your religion, your connection to Allah, both of you. Not one is religious, the other one's not. One praises, one doesn't pray. No. Okay? Now. Yes, I will save this live on YouTube, inshallah. I will. Bismillah. Okay. So I'm in the medical industry, and I have sought some guidance regarding plastic surgery. Body modification is haram unless it is for a unless if it's for a medical reason, like a deformity, something like that. Is it halal to have more than one wife? Of course. Advice on how to stop masturbation. I think this comes from a woman. It's tough. It's a tough one. Get married. Get married. Probably most easiest thing, because it's in the need of a person to have intimacy. So get married as soon as possible. Right? Getting married is probably the easiest way to stop that. Because any human being needs intimacy. Right? That's built in us. And then another one, same thing. See, you can't stop it because there's a need for intimacy. It's built in us. So the only thing to do is to get it in halal, which is marriage. Give her dawah, bro. Make her a Muslim. Or if she's Christian, or you can marry her. I would really, really advise you guys to look at my pre-marriage vetting class. The vetting class is very important. You can find it on my Instagram on the link. You'll see it, the marriage vetting masterclass, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Would you say it was different about the 16 to 18-year-old man during the time of Sahaba and now? Oh, a huge difference. 16 to 18-year-old men today are kids. At the time of the Prophet, they were already married and having children. And they were participating in war. Interesting. So they try to go back home to find a spouse, and they met like very materialistic people and have the ideas of the West. Yeah, that is very true. It can happen. That's why you gotta vet properly. Can I put in a marriage contract I don't work due to health problems? You can tell your husband, your future husband, that you cannot work due to health problems, and this is clear, so that he knows ahead of time. Sounds like my cousin's sister grew up with her abusive father and she left home with her bro. She's practicing, a practicing brother, proposed to her, but the father's against it. The brother, if they left together at home, because the father was abusive, then the brother can be the wali, inshallah. What advice would you give a second wife? To be patient and not to look and to compare and to think and to overthink, and just stick to your thing. Do your best. You do your part. Okay, be patient, do your part. Don't think and don't look into, don't try to find the social media of the other wife and keep checking on her and see what they're doing. Just mind your own thing. Focus on your relationship with him, as if you're living with him only. Is fantasy about cuddling and being intimate before marriage with the woman haram? It's not good to keep dwelling on those thoughts because it can lead you to other stuff. Yes, this is the hadith. The Prophet said, marry a woman for 4. And we see here that this is actually not, like a woman is married for 4. This is what men look for. But the religious, so I mentioned aqidah, her beauty can be linked to intimacy and so on. Her wealth and her lineage status also linked to beauty and so on. So I think it's very important. But I said, practically speaking, what makes a marriage work today, what keeps it, I said iman first, the religion first and foremost. First and foremost. Do you think that Andrew Tate being detained is a sign of the last days, such that him speaking truth is being jailed? I mean, he's being jailed for many reasons. We hope that Allah frees him and that he takes this as a lesson for him to get closer to Allah, inshallah. Is this a sign of the last day? I wouldn't say so, because there's been many better people than him, ulama and scholars, who have been jailed for really speaking the truth. So, but of course, he's been taken down and people have tried to go after him because he has spoken some very good facts and truth. We ask Allah to free him, inshallah. I don't know how women complain about PMO when it's so easy as a woman to get married. I would think it's not. I don't think it's easy for a woman to get married. I think it's very difficult. Very, very difficult. Men are very picky today. Women are picky as well, but men are picky. They want a very young one, a virgin, plus, so many things. It's not easy for a woman to get married today, especially if she's not very pretty. She's done too much education. She's kind of wasted her time. Her age is maybe in her late 20s now. It's not easy. That is very true. Very, very true. I have a 6-figure income, alhamdulillah, but I live with my parents and I'm afraid of living alone independently, but I can't get married unless I move out. Just move out, man. You can be close to your parents, maybe on the same street. MashaAllah, if you have a 6-figure income, alhamdulillah, be close to them somewhere. You can still fulfill their duties and their rights and still be on yourself and independent. You know what I mean? So it's okay. What can I do if my wife don't want to wear hijab? Well, you have to advise her and tell her, and then look, if she's disobeying Allah, then you have the right to basically terminate the marriage. I know some people say just wait. Yeah, you wait, of course. I'm saying have patience, keep reminding her, but there has to be, again, keep in mind, women have to be accountable. There has to be consequences, like for everyone. I'm not saying just divorce, no. But when a woman disobeys Allah clearly, freely, openly, the man is responsible. Like the sin is on you as a husband. You have to understand that. You're responsible for her. If she doesn't wear hijab, the sin is on you. My Instagram is G Al Romani. G Al Romani. The same name. You can search it. Inshallah. How to go about asking a woman about her past when vetting for marriage. It's a tough one and it's not an easy one, and you be careful that you don't ask questions that you want answers to. Don't ask a question that you're not going to be happy with the answers you're going to get. Be careful, again, if you get into sins and asking about past sins, she herself probably knows the fatwa that she should be hiding her sins. So best way to find out about someone is to ask others about them in the community, what they know about them. And if you don't know anything about them, then it's a bit of a problem, right? Because if they've been in the community for a long time. So ask around. If people have an idea that she's been around and all that, then obviously you would know and you have to be careful. Is laser circumcision dangerous? I don't know. As a new Muslim, how to deal with a wife who is not respectful to my non-Muslim parents? Can I make my kids to my parents often? Should I ask my wife permission for that? You don't have to ask your wife permission for that. She has to be respectful. She has to have respect for them, even if they're not Muslim, okay, unless they're going against Islam or talking bad about Islam or anything like that. And your kids have the right, and you have the right to take them over there to their house. I know a married Muslim woman cheating on her husband with a non-Muslim. Should I tell her husband? If you have clear evidence. If you don't have no evidence, don't get involved. If you just know, it's not good for you to tell because you don't have evidence. Islamically, you will be whipped. You have to have clear-cut evidence. No, there's no such thing as 50-50. This is something that inshallah I'll try to do a lecture on, inshallah, with narcissistic people, how to deal with narcissistic people. How do you deal with a sensitive wife? Treat her kindly, be sensitive with her as well, but at the same time, there has to be a limit because sometimes just too much sensitivity and it can destroy. So you just have to be kind to her, soft. That's sensitive. She's very sensitive in a good sense, as in she's feminine. That's a positive thing. She's very sensitive. It's like she starts getting angry and crying and screaming. Then obviously you have to advise her to not do that. Again, you have to look at what's the outcome of that sensitivity. It's just sensitive and nice. Alhamdulillah, you don't want some harsh woman. Alhamdulillah. What does porn addiction actually look like? Does that person only desire porn and not want to be intimate with a real woman? Yes, there is a big difference. So addiction would be basically every day, sometimes twice a day, it starts interfering with your life. It starts causing problems in your relationships. It starts stopping you from sleeping, from eating. You lose your job, you lose relationships. People start catching you. This is an addiction where you can't control yourself anymore. It's a huge, huge issue. It's the best Islamic country to migrate to away from the West. Tough, but some people say Turkey is good, some people say Malaysia is good, some people like the Middle East, like the Khalij. I would say they're better than the West anyway. When you say evidence, do you mean pictures? See, Islamically, when you accuse someone of zina, you have to have 4 witnesses to the actual act. Now, in the court system today, I'm not so sure if the ulama have come up with any evidence or any kind of understanding of different evidences, whether it's allowed to say it's a video or a picture or something like that can actually be incriminating. I haven't looked into that Qadi system right now of the 21st century of today, but in general in Islam you have to have 4 witnesses. So unless, it's tough. It's tough. I don't know. This is very tough because it's it can be a mistake. It can break the family, it can break the relationship. If you have clear-cut evidence, and maybe that's a different story, like good evidence, not just some ambiguous evidence. So the 4 witnesses is to establish the had. But again, if you have clear-cut evidence like pictures, videos, something like that, conversations, then maybe you should. Maybe you should. What advice would you give? The wife is asking for divorce for no legitimate reason and is being difficult when communicating. To tell her to relax, to calm down, don't divorce her. Okay, she's just upset. Ask her as to why she's upset. Tell her to be careful, because asking divorce for no reason is like she won't be able to smell Jannah. So it's a big sin. There's no reason just because she's not happy or something or patient. So remind her with that hadith, inshallah, and ask her what's the problem. Like, try to understand. Sometimes women are just upset about something very small, something very big, depends, but you need to understand what it is. But remind her with a hadith. Remind her with a hadith. You should advise him. If you've seen him, advise him. Advise him to fear Allah and not to do that. In your experience, are Malay women more feminine agreeable, or is that a stereotype? I wouldn't say Malaysian. Indonesian, maybe, Thai, Muslims. But Malaysians these days, especially like main cities, no. In outskirts and villages and so on, yes, mashallah, they're quite feminine and more agreeable. I'm not sure. I don't have a statistics on that. Okay, I'm gonna take one more question and then we're gonna stop, inshallah. So first wives, when you talk about second marriage, they threat with hola and taking children away. Should men stop seeking ta'addud? No, because see, women can threaten for anything right now. A man should not stop ta'addud just because the woman's threatening him. No, if he has to do it, he has to do it. If he can, this is his right. And in many cases, he should do, because he can help many other women. Just because the woman doesn't like it now, he has to stop. What is this threatening and taking the kids and police and all this divorce? And this is rubbish. Okay? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them what they deserve for doing that. Because it's no reason. If you're doing it properly and all that, she has no reason to ask for divorce and to threaten you to take away the kids. No, not at all. Okay, not at all. How often should a couple have intimacy in a week? If they can do it every day, it's really good. If not, at least I would say 3 to 5 times a week. 3 to 5 times a week. No. Type. Marrying reverts, last question. Sorry. Depends. Some of them have a lot of baggage. Gotta be careful. You gotta still do proper vetting. Can't just jump in because they're reverts. Very attractive. Oh, revert. No. Gotta do your vetting. Gotta be careful. You gotta also be ready that these people have a past. So a lot of people don't like that. So be careful with that. Now. طيب جزاكم الله خير. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of you. Inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.